When I travel for business now, it's mostly by plane. I have to be honest, I'd rather drive. Or walk. See, it's not that I have a phobia about flying, it's that I have a phobia while I'm flying. Does that make sense? See, I'm talking about the sitting during the flying. Not that I mind sitting. Sitting and flying are both fine. It's just that when I sit while I fly, Wait, no. That doesn't make sense. Can I start this over? Albert Einstein once said, "The definition of insanity is always expecting your driving experiences to be easy and uneventful." Sometimes driving is hard, and not just because you have to learn how to in some cases, but rather learning to adapt to the ways of driving. Adapting to things like falling asleep, other bad drivers around you, or maybe even spiders. In the following, Ray discusses his experiences when driving. Driving, by Ray Romano. Alright, I got a little bit confused. Let's pretend like this is the beginning of the page. I would rather drive than fly, because whenever I fly, I'm afraid the person I'm sitting next to is going to want to talk. There, that's what I was trying to say. Please understand, I'm a friendly guy. And it's not that I'm unsociable, I'm just not a great conversationalist. And nowadays, having to fly from Los Angeles to New York, those long flights can get very tough on a non-talker like myself. What's made things easier is learning some of the things you can do, tactfully of course, to let the person next to you know that you are not the talking type. First of all, establish this very early. You can't let any conversation begin, because once it starts, there is no proper point at which to say, "You've been very nice, but I'd like for both of us to stop talking." Unfortunately, people interpret many different things as an invitation to begin a conversation. It can be anything from making eye contact to saying "bless you" after they sneeze. So what you have to do is cut off all possible avenues of communication. Your best bet is to walk on the plane wearing headphones, a surgical mask, and looking through a Viewmaster. I know that'll work because at home, it's the way I go to bed. Some people think I drive only because I'm afraid to fly. That's not it at all. Not only do I know that statistically you are more likely to get in an accident in an automobile, but the way my mind works, I'm afraid while I'm driving, a plane is going to crash into my car. So I'm going to be neurotic whether I'm driving or flying. As a matter of fact, something happened to me one time on the road that still gives me nightmares. I was driving to a gig, and I noticed a spider on the windshield of my car. So there was this big, hairy spider right in the middle of my windshield, and all I knew was I wanted him off pronto. The plan I developed was simple. I turn on the wipers, and I knock him into orbit. For a moment, however, I was torn. What if all the wipers do is push him close to the driver's side window? Then what? I think he's gone. I get out of my car, and then he leaps down my throat and hatches eggs in my stomach. I didn't know what to do. If I'd been near a car wash, that'd have solved everything. But I was on the highway, which also ruled out pulling into a garage and getting a new windshield. I kept one eye on the spider and one eye on the road. I couldn't keep that up for much longer without getting into an accident. So after a few minutes of trying to pray him away, I had to take a chance. I activated the wipers. Swish, swish. Swish, swish. Nothing. The spider didn't budge. My cheapo wipers must have been warped because they were gliding right over the eight-legged beast without moving him a millimeter. Desperately, I turned on the washer to try to flood him out. Still nothing. Then whatever fear I was feeling at that moment was magnified tenfold. I was in my own little horror movie, and I'd just gotten the phone call. "We've traced the spider, Mr. Romano. He is on the inside. I repeat, he is on the inside." I'm too embarrassed to tell the end of the story. Aside from spiders, the only other thing I fear while driving is the dreaded sleep dip. Usually it happens late at night, although it's not a rule. But there you are, behind the wheel of your car, and you start to feel a little bit tired. Your eyes become heavy. Without realizing it, you start to close them just a tiny bit. Then your head becomes heavy. Suddenly your chin drops to your chest. The jolt snaps you back awake. What? Whoa! Was I sleeping? You can't believe it. Oh my gosh, I was sleeping! The first thing you do is look around to see if you killed anybody. I'm pretty sure he was already lying right there. The sleep dip is not only frightening, it's frustrating. Because how many times are you at home, you're in your bed, you're in your pajamas, it's cozy, it's warm, and you can't sleep at all? Now you're going 60 miles an hour and you're catching Z's behind the wheel. What amazes me, as frightening as the sleep dip is a few seconds after it happens, you do it again. You'd think the shock of almost getting yourself killed would have an effect, but no, there goes the old head again. What? Oh, come on! You can't stop it. It's not from a lack of effort. You try all the tricks to keep yourself awake. You turn on the radio, you open the window, you slap your face. But how in the world is any of that supposed to work if almost killing yourself doesn't have an effect? In my driving adventures, there's an interesting phenomenon I've noticed takes place only late at night. For some reason, otherwise law-abiding citizens tend to think that the later it is, the less they have to obey traffic laws at all. I think you know what I'm talking about. You're sitting at a red light, and it's 3:30 in the morning. No one's around. Don't tell me if it doesn't change within the next few seconds. You don't just look both ways and roll right through it. At a certain hour, we all just decide it's now okay to break the law. And we do it without any pretense that it's for a good reason. It's not like your wife's in labor and you're rushing to the hospital. Literally, the reason you're choosing to break our nation's system of laws is this. Come on. It's 3:30. That's it. It's 3:30 is the reason. That's what you'd be pleading to a judge if you ever got caught. Your Honor, it was 3:30 in the morning. And he'd understand. 3:30? Well, why didn't you say so? You're free to go. New York City drivers, though, have always had a bad reputation. And I'm not going to say it isn't true, but I will tell you what the problem is. It's the testing. It's just way too easy to get a license there. Now, I don't know what the standardized testing in your part of the country consists of, but it can't be any easier than ours. Here you go. Sample question. A blind person is crossing the road. What is your course of action? A. Stop. Let him go by. B. Nudge him a little so he knows you're there. C. Speed up. Aim for the dog. Now, is this a real question? Possibly, yes. Actually, I thought of a pretty simple solution to the New York City driving problem. What they should do is require all drivers to put one of those "How's my driving?" stickers with the 1-800 numbers on the backs of everyone's car. I'm sure you've seen the countless variations of those on the backs of trucks. Some of them are classic. My personal favorite is, "How's my driving? If you have any complaints or compliments, please call this number." Okay, look. Complaints? That I can see. That I can understand. But compliments? Folks, whose life is that boring? Who's making that phone call? Yes, hello, Sternberger Moving Company? Yeah, I was out on the road and happened to catch truck number 42. Now he backed into this loading dock. It was artwork. Then on the way out, he made a U-turn and I wept. Is he going to be back in town because the kids would love him? Listen, I gotta go watch My Chia Pet, but could you put me on his mailing list? Of course, we're gonna have a 1-800 number for every car. The call volume would overload the phone system. Hello? Yeah, I'm leaving you this message because you just cut me off in traffic. Yeah, you're looking at me right now. Oh, you seem to think it was my fault. Hold on, I'm going to give you the finger. Haha, there you go, yeah. Alright, now we stopped at a red light. Oh, you're exiting your vehicle and approaching mine. Tell you what, let me call you back. Thank you.